This bones quiz has 3 levels: easy, medium, and hard. Only a few people make it to the final level. Let's see how far you go. Let's start simple.
Question 1. How many bones are there in an adult human body? Question 2. Which is the longest bone in the human body? Question 3. Which bone protects the brain? Question 4. How many ribs are there in total? Question 5. Which bone is present in the upper arm? Question 6. Which bone is present in the thigh? Question 7. What is the name of the chest bone in the center? Question 8. What is another name for the backbone? Question 9. What is the shoulder blade called? Question 10. Which bone bears most weight in the lower leg?
Let's increase the difficulty. Question 11. What is the collarbone called? Question 12. How many bones are there in the skull? Question 13. Which has more bones? Question 14. Which bone forms the forehead? Question 15. What is the kneecap called? Question 16. Which is the smallest bone in the body? Question 17. Which bone is on the thumb side of the forearm? Question 18. The hip bone is part of which structure? Question 19. How many cervical vertebrae are there? Question 20. Which bone is at the back of the head? If you're still here, you're doing well. Question 21. Which bone does not articulate with any other bone? Question 22. How many vertebrae are there in total?
Question 23. Which bone forms the cheek? Question 24. Which is the only movable skull bone? Question 25. Which bone forms the heel? Question 26. Which bone forms the upper arm and connects to the shoulder joint? Question 27. Which bone is on the little finger side of the forearm? Question 28. Which part of the spine has 12 vertebrae? Question 29. Which bone forms the upper jaw? Question 30. What is the tailbone called? So, what level did you reach? Comment your score below.